Welcome back to the Beecommercer Daily Buzz. It is Friday, July 31st, 2026. Today's theme is clear. The AI visibility market is still unsettled, but the window will not remain open forever. Brands are beginning to track whether ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and Perplexity mention them across definitions, comparisons, alternatives, use cases, and buying questions. At the same time, retailers are using AI for pricing, inventory, loyalty, customer service, advertising, and product development. The connecting idea is not content volume. It is ownership. Which brand owns the category story? Which sources validate that story? And which retail systems can turn attention into a reliable customer experience? Let's get into it. Our big story today is that nearly 90% of estimated AI search demand still has no clear brand owner. The research covered 1,094 U.S. categories, 5 prompt types per category, more than 50,000 brands, and over 600,000 citations across 6 months of ChatGPT data. Only 15.2% of the categories had a clear leader. More than half remained open fields with several credible competitors but no dominant brand. When weighted by estimated AI search volume, 89.3% of demand existed in categories without a clear owner. That means many of the largest commercial opportunities are still unsettled. A brand that creates a meaningful lead now may gain an advantage that becomes harder to challenge later. Once a brand established a strong category lead, it retained first place in more than 90% of month-to-month comparisons. Leadership changes happened mostly when the difference between brands was already narrow, so a small lead should be treated as contested. Another important finding is that citations and mentions are not the same thing. The most cited domain was also the most mentioned brand in only 20.8% of categories. Citations can help a company enter the answer set. They do not automatically make it the name AI recommends. Becoming the default answer requires support across several forms of customer intent. The brand needs to help explain the category, appear in comparisons, show up as an alternative, solve specific use cases, and support the buying decision. That is a much broader task than publishing pages for isolated prompts. Reputation is becoming part of discoverability. Reviews, directory listings, media mentions, forums, and third-party references can influence how both customers and AI systems understand a company. Owned content remains essential. Brands still need accurate product pages, structured data, accessible information, and clear policies. But the wider web provides evidence about whether those claims are credible. This is especially important in local, financial, healthcare, automotive, and other trust-sensitive categories. Recent reviews, thoughtful responses, verified profiles, and consistent business information make the entity easier to understand. The operator takeaway is to choose the categories the brand genuinely needs to own. Test the same buyer intents across major AI systems: definition, comparison, alternatives, use case, and purchase decision. Track whether the brand appears, how it's described, which competitors lead, and which sources influence the answer. Then, strengthen the weakest part of the category story. Do not rely on one general visibility score. Now, let's move to Meta. Meta's second quarter advertising revenue increased 27% year over year to approximately $59.4 billion. Total revenue increased 28% to $60.8 billion. Meta says AI is improving campaign performance through products such as Advantage Plus and a new generative recommendation system. Advantage Plus reached a reported annual revenue run rate of $75 billion during the quarter. Meta's biggest AI success is still the advertising business. AI is making the existing commercial engine more productive, but that success requires an enormous infrastructure investment. Meta now expects full-year capital expenditures of $130 to $145 billion. For advertisers, the lesson is practical. Meta will continue automating audience selection, creative matching, and campaign optimization because those capabilities support its core revenue. Advertisers need to improve the inputs and controls around that automation. The platform can identify a person likely to convert. It cannot know whether the conversion has enough margin. It cannot know whether the customer will return the product. And it cannot guarantee that generated creative represents the offer accurately. Advertisers should pass accurate revenue, separate new and returning buyers, remove duplicate or low-value events, and compare platform results with contribution margin and repeat purchase. AI can improve delivery. Only the business can define a valuable customer. Now let's look at AI inside retail operations. Advance Auto Parts says its new loyalty program is increasing customer engagement and repeat e-commerce activity. The company is connecting the program with a wider pricing and inventory system developed with Palantir. A pricing matrix supports market-based decisions by channel and individual product. This is stronger than generic personalization because it connects customer behavior, pricing, assortment, and availability. A loyalty offer creates little value if the product is overpriced or unavailable. Lululemon is also applying AI across customer service, advertising, inventory, and product development. Some of its most important projects are happening behind the storefront. The company wants to reduce a product development cycle of roughly 18 to 24 months toward 12 to 14 months. Faster merchandising and procurement decisions can affect margin and product relevance long before an advertisement appears. WP Engine and Beecommercer are addressing another retail system problem through Commerce Connect. The model allows WordPress merchants to preserve existing content, design, URLs, and SEO while adding a more scalable commerce engine. That matters because a full rebuild can damage years of search visibility and customer familiarity. Modernization should replace the constraint without unnecessarily discarding what already creates demand. Now, let's cover 3 developments in visibility, creative, and shopping. First, brands can improve AI visibility without turning the website into a content mill. A better process starts by comparing the story the brand wants to tell with the story AI systems currently tell. The team should then identify which pages and third-party sources create the difference. Not every prompt gap requires a new article. The topic should belong to the brand and support a real customer decision. Strong content includes original research, customer stories, expert interviews, comparisons, pricing guidance, and clear trade-offs. Every new page should strengthen the category story instead of merely increasing the URL counts. Second, creator advertisements and organic creator content perform different jobs. Paid creator ads often need immediate clarity, early brand recognition, and a measurable action. Organic creator content depends more heavily on context, trust, and the creator's existing audience relationship. Forcing every creator post to behave like a performance advertisement can damage authenticity. Brands should separate the briefs and success metrics. Authentic creator content can be considered for paid amplification later. Third, Google is testing AI-generated descriptions on shopping and product advertisements. Additional context may help customers understand a product, but the system could also emphasize the wrong feature or introduce unsupported language. The quality depends on the product information behind it. Titles, attributes, feed descriptions, structured data, and visible pages should remain aligned. When the platform creates context automatically, clean product data becomes part of creative control. Before we finish, let's look at Reddit. Reddit's second quarter advertising revenue increased 64% year over year to $762 million. Total revenue and active users also grew strongly. But Reddit remains concerned about declining Google referral traffic and AI systems summarizing community discussions without sending clicks. Reddit's argument is that AI compresses the internet into summaries. Communities provide discussion, disagreement, context, and lived experience. Customers do not always want one polished answer. They want to know which product failed after 6 months, whether a return was difficult, or how something performed in an unusual real-world situation. Those conversations influence reputation, AI recommendations, and purchase decisions. They are also difficult for brands to control, which is one reason customers trust them. Today's stories lead to one conclusion. AI search categories remain open, but ownership will not be created through content volume alone. The next visibility moat combines reputation, expertise, product truth, third-party validation, and an operating system capable of keeping the customer promise. The default answers will not simply be the brands AI sees most often. They will be the brands the wider web gives AI the strongest reasons to trust. That's all for today's Beecommercer Daily Buzz. See you next time.